Now, the Food and Allied Workers Union says this morning the recall of pilchards could be a big threat to jobs. Now, here's the background. It comes after the National Consumer Commission ordered the removal of certain brands of tinned pilchards from the shelves. Consumers who recently bought 400-gram tins of pilchards in tomato and chili sauce manufactured by West Point processors were told to return them. Live to Cape Town, Zulani Mbanjwa joins us from the Food and Allied Workers Union. Mr. Mbanjwa, good morning to you and welcome. First of all, you talk about a threat to jobs. How many people are then involved in this broader sector who could potentially be impacted?
Well, thank you very much for having me. When we're talking about the fishing industry, specifically the processing sector of the canned fish, we're talking about more or less 9,000 employees, because we're not only talking about West Point processors, but we're talking about the Lucky Stars of this world, Amawandle Pelagic, Sea Pride, and the West Point processors. So those are the canning companies that are situated in the West Coast, but you do have other canning processes that are in Gansbaai. So we're talking about close to 9,000 employees.
Now, the call or the recall, is it already starting to have an impact on jobs, or is it too early to say?
No, it is too early to say, but I must say that it is going to have a negative impact in the job security of our members, because if you listen to the customers or South Africa at large, they are starting to have a negative thinking about the pilchards in South Africa. And I think it is important to say that not all canned fish is affected by this. It is only West Point processors. You can buy the fish of Lucky Star, you can buy the fish of Sea Pride, you can buy the fish of Amawandle Pelagic. And even at West Point processors, it is not the whole product of
the whole product, but the problem,
it is only two lines.
As you rightly point out, is that inevitably this will clear at some point, but it's a confidence and it's a sentiment debate. It's going to take time for people to go back to buying those brands that have been recalled. Conceivably, it shrinks the pilchard industry, and that you're suggesting is going to have an impact on jobs.
Yeah, it is. And my worry is that the fishing industry itself is in a crisis in terms of the raw material that is scarce at sea. And boom, this thing now of this canning deficiency, which is also going to have a very, very, very negative impact to our members in the sea, in the fishing industry. I'm saying this because I went myself to West Point processors just to have a talk with employees in that plant in the West Coast. And I went myself to have a talk with the employees of Lucky Star and Amawandle Pelagic around this matter. They are also concerned because they can see that it is going to affect the whole industry, not only that plant that produced this fish.
Could you explain something to us, and maybe having visited the plant you could give us a better indication? The excuse being given for this is the words that you used. There was a problem with a canning deficiency. What does that actually mean, and how did that happen?
According to NCRS, the issue of the canned deficiency, it happened while they were busy processing this fish. It seems as if in the seaming machine, while they were putting the tomato sauce in the cans, it happened in that process, but they couldn't find it immediately because this fish is taking about 3 years in their stores. So they find out there's a lacking in the tins. So that can be a challenge on our customers in South Africa when they are consuming this fish if it is lacking.
So, in your opinion, is this a mistake? Is it negligence? or is it simply a lack of capital investment in machinery?
I can say it's a lack of capital investment in the machinery, because I don't want to say it's negligence from the employees, because if West Point can invest in the capital of machinery, this something can be prevented. And I want to say to them, they need to make sure that they are rectifying this. We cannot afford to have this challenge within the fishing industry. They need to make sure that they are acting fast in making sure that this thing is not going to happen, because we don't want to see ourselves in the same situation in next year, or else in the neighboring companies like Seabright and Amawan, the pelagic. They need to make sure that this thing is under control.
Mr. Mbanjwa, thank you. In Cape Town, Zulani Mbanjwa from the Food and Allied Workers Union.